Hi, I'm the Reverend John Edmiston. I'm an adjunct professor of theology and I'm also the CEO of Cyber Missions. And I'm protesting against SB1146, a particularly badly thought piece of legislation that tries to secularize Christian colleges by forcing them to employ people against their conscience, against their will, and against their constitutions, particularly in their business schools, the nursing schools, and things like this. Well, what is wrong with this legislation, other than the fact that it is deliberately aimed at suppressing Christianity in California? In fact, it is economic disaster. It's a very bad bill. Now, what do I mean by economic disaster? Simply this: the colleges will move. Christian colleges have a captive audience. Christian parents want to send their children to a Christian college and they don't care where it is. In fact, some parents in our church sent their kids all the way to Texas Christian University, because they really liked it there. They're looking for an institution that has certain values, and where those values are lived out in the rules on campus and the employment of their staff, where there's a Christian atmosphere. Now, there's 55 colleges in California, and let's just say they all moved to Kentucky, and that Governor Matt Bevin, who welcomes Christians, will take them in and they'll give them all free banjos and bluegrass lessons and free tickets to Ken Ham's life-size model of Noah's Ark. So Kentucky gets these 55 colleges and California loses them. And on top of that, these Christian colleges don't really educate locals. They educate people from all over the United States and all over the world. Fuller Theological Seminary in Azusa Pacific have lots and lots of Korean students and Chinese students, and students are coming from international places to study here because it's still one of the few places in the world where they can learn business or nursing from Christian practitioners who have Christian worldview. So these colleges don't need to be here in California. They can move, and they will move, and they'll buy cheaper property in Kentucky, and they'll have a much easier time under a much easier government. So what's the economic impact on California of 55 colleges moving out of state? There's about, by my estimate, there's 66,000 students and 10,000 staff. Now, 66,000 students, full-time equivalent students, multiply that by the $30,000 a year Pell Grant, that's about $2 billion per annum leaving California and going, say, to Kentucky or Texas or Idaho. 10,000 staff, they're forced to move for their jobs, they sell their homes, and that's about a $400,000 average home. That's a $4 billion one-time loss that leaves the state. 55 campuses, they sell themselves to Chinese investors or Saudis who'll go and build madrasas out of them or whatever, because there's no American educational institution is going to buy into California for the expensive land and other restrictive things here. Not even Harvard or Yale will buy campuses here. So there's will be international investors will come in and gobble up these prime lands, and they'll set up institutions to advance their own causes in this country. So for these 55 colleges at $100 million each, that'll be a $5.5 billion exiting the state. And there's a lot of other things going there. And so by the time I do my back of the envelope calculations, we have about $17.5 billion exiting as soon as this bill goes through. And by a community multiplier of 2.5, I eventually end up with the number on my little envelope here of $28.75 billion exiting California because of this ill-thought-through piece of legislation. It will be spiritually destructive, it will be socially destructive, and it will be economically destructive. So, to all you legislators out there, you really need to rethink SB1146, and you need to hit it on the head right now. Get rid of this toxic piece of legislation. And if you're a Christian, write to your legislator right now, it's before Monday, and tell them that SB1146 is a terrible piece of legislation and it should not pass through the California Assembly.